99% of fighters in the sport of boxing don't sell. It's the fight that sell. That 1% are pay-per-view fighters. Let's talk.
Straighter, not roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill
Pull
somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Yo, it's the best, fight the best. If you ain't with the moto, just click the link, bitch, and get buried like the rest. It ain't gonna work how you want it. These trolls already tried, too many come but don't leave. So if you hear, you gotta die. I'm spitting straight facts. These bitches crying cause they hate that. The LDBC's the top topic, bitch, hate that. We the ones that bring the truth to these fans. So while you hate, I'ma laugh and keep counting these bands. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link, get prepared to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you.
Welcome to the graveyard.
So, I can say this till I'm blue in the face, but people will act like they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, so let's break this down for y'all. Fighters, majority of all fighters in the sport of boxing, don't sell. There is a very small percentage of fighters who are pay-per-view fighters that sell by themselves, regardless of what they do and who they're fighting, they sell. All right, Deontay Wilder sells. Errol Spence sells. Tank Davis sells. It doesn't matter who they fight, doesn't matter what they do, they will sell. Those are yours. Those fighters sell. Canelo Alvarez sells. I do not like Canelo, but he still sells. All right. It don't matter who he fights, it doesn't matter who they need to fight, it doesn't matter what needs to go on. Those fighters sell by themselves with nothing. It don't matter who they fight, they sell. They sell. Those are the fighters who are pay-per-view fighters. Those. All the other fighters, all the other ones, need a fight to sell. This is no shade because I didn't mention a lot of y'all favorites. A lot of my favorites I didn't mention. But I don't need to sugarcoat anything. These are just the facts. The facts don't care whether I like them or you like them. They just are what they are. All right? They just are what they are. Everybody else needs a dance partner. They need a dance partner. All right? If you give them a dance partner, then the fight sells. The fight will bring a lot of fucking numbers, or it might even be a big ass pay-per-view fight. The fight sells, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I'm this or I'm that." Even if you have all the belts, and I'm not speaking of no particular undisputed fighter in general. I'm just saying because Devin that's my guy right there. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. That's my homie right there. But I'm just keeping it a buck, man. This is no shade or disrespect to nobody. I'm just keeping it a buck. You have to fight a fight that the fans are clamoring for that to be a huge fight. Devin versus Loma, that's a pay-per-view fight. It's a pay-per-view fight. Devin versus Tank, of course, because Tank's a pay-per-view fighter. All right? There are specific names that the fight itself will be big because of the fight, the intrigue in the fight. But Lomachenko ain't fighting nobody by himself on pay-per-view. It's not happening. It's not happening. And right now, my boy Dev is not doing it either. Right now. All right? It's just not. But those two guys fighting each other, that's a pay-per-view fight. That's a pay-per-view fight. It's pay-per-view worthy. All right, it's pay-per-view worthy. Motherfucking there's your flaws with Terrence Crawford, bro. That's why his buy. That's why he doesn't do good buys. He doesn't sell shit because he's just not a pay-per-view fighter. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence will be astronomical. Fucking million pay-per-view buys. Terrence Crawford by himself will not do nothing nowhere near close to that. Ever. He just won't, bro. He just won't. But if the fight, who he fights, the fight itself, that the fight between him and a specific fighter, maybe even Keith Thurman, that's a draw. That fight is a big fight. The fight, not the fighters. Keith Thurman ain't doing no fucking pay-per-views by himself. Look at this shit with Mario Barrios. That shit flopped so bad, niggas don't even talk about it. At all. Bro, Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios did less pay-per-views than Terrence Crawford versus Victor Postol. Because the fight no one cared about. No one cared about the fight. Keith Thurman, he's a draw, but he's not a fucking pay-per-view draw. He's just a draw. Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. That's a pay-per-view draw. Keith Thurman versus Adrian Broner. That's a pay-per-view draw. Adrian Broner is another one. Adrian Broner is another fighter who is a draw. He's a pay-per-view fighter. Adrian the Problem Broner. I forgot that name. My bad, AB. AB is a pay-per-view draw. Facts. Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, Adrian Broner, Canelo Alvarez, Tank Davis. There is your 5. There's your 5 draws in the sport of boxing. There's your 5 draws that are. I mean, if you want to add in like motherfucking like sideshows, then you can add in Floyd Mayweather still and Jake Paul. There you go. If you want to add in the sideshows, Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul. You have 7 draws in the sport of boxing that can fight no matter who they fight, they're going to sell. Doesn't matter who they fight. All right. Floyd Mayweather, Jake Paul, Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez, Adrian Broner, and Tank Davis. There you go. Those are the only fighters in the sport of boxing that don't matter who they fight, they're going to draw, and it can be pay-per-view if they wanted it to be. Facts. Those are the only ones. There's nobody else in the sport of boxing. No one. Everyone else, it requires the fight. It requires the fight. Now, those other fighters can potentially get there. They can get there, absolutely get there. Not a potentially, they can absolutely get there. Devin can absolutely be a pay-per-view fighter. Absolutely. Jerron Boots Ennis, absolutely a pay-per-view fighter. Absolutely. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, he can be a pay-per-view fighter. Facts. Facts. Yes, he can. He can absolutely be that. Absolutely. All these guys that are causing a buzz, right? They got a buzz. They can be pay-per-view fight. They're not there yet. They're just not. They're not. And there's some of them that will never be there. Like Ryan Garcia, he will never be that. That will never happen, bro, because his shit is built on a facade. His house is built on sand. He will never be that. It will never happen. Ever. Oh, well, BF, yeah, well, because, the knockouts and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you guys shitted on Deontay Wilder for years about that. When you already knew what it was. You just wanted to hate on the man. And most of y'all motherfuckers was Americans. Most of y'all motherfuckers was black Americans. Coons, Sambo, weird-ass niggas. That's what most of y'all were. But the bottom line is, there's your 7 draws by themselves. It doesn't matter who they fight. That fight will sell by itself. Everybody else, the fight. You need the fight. The fans are not clamoring for you. They're clamoring for the fight. They're not worried about buying what you do. They're worried about buying the fight you're in. If Speedy Rashidi Ellis is fighting Errol Spence, that will be on pay-per-view. But if Speedy Rashidi Ellis is fighting Virgil Ortiz, but that is not a pay-per-view fight at all. That shit should be on regular free TV. It just is what it is. It just is what it is, man. And there's no shade to Verge. There's no shade to Speedy, bro. I fuck with them both. What I'm just saying is that is no one's clamoring for them like that. No one, bro. And you know how you can tell if somebody's clamoring for you? If you do anything, and all the articles are written about you, all the news is on you, all the spotlight, the videos, and blah, blah, blah. There it is. It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. Virgil Ortiz fucking pulled out of some fight talking about, he can't make, he didn't say it, but, he couldn't make the weight and he was struggling making the weight and blah, 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 yada, yada. And it went on for a day, day and a half, and then vanished. Nobody gave a fuck. The only reason why people talk about Terrence Crawford because of Errol Spence. That is no disrespect to Bud. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, man. It's just the truth. The only reason why people talked about Anthony Joshua because of Deontay Wilder. Because no one gives a fuck about Anthony Joshua right now. Nobody. They don't give a fuck what's going on. And he's supposed to fight in 2 months. And no one cares. Oh, a month. And nobody cares at all. There's been no clamoring. There's been no fucking articles, no headlines, no nothing. But when they both were on a head-on collision, every day the conversation was about Wilder Joshua. Every fucking day. Every fucking day. Wilder Joshua, Wilder Joshua, Wilder Joshua. Because they both were a head-on collision. It's the same thing with Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. The only reason why we're speaking about Bud is because of Errol Spence. That's it. And that's no disrespect. There's no shade. There's no hate. Well, it's full disrespect to Anthony Joshua, but none to Bud. There's no disrespect to Bud. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. But it's full disrespect to fuck Anthony Joshua. And Dean and Dillian are probably fucking Anthony Joshua. But hold on the subject. All I'm saying to you is no one cares about Joshua, which proves to you guys that nobody cared about him a long time ago. They cared about Wilder and still do. Wilder is the draw. Wilder. Errol Spence is the draw. All right? Tank Davis is the draw. It just is what it is. Adrian Broner is the draw. And then when you have two fighters who are the draw that fight each other, you get Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. When you get two fighters who are pay-per-view fighters by themselves, they don't need each other. They are a draw by themselves. They are a pay-per-view draw by themselves. They are a numbers guy by themselves. When you get those two fighters, you get Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. That's what you get. You get that. Bro, Lennox Lewis was not drawing like that. Mike Tyson was the draw. Facts. Facts. Lennox Lewis is probably one of the greatest top 10, in my opinion, greatest heavyweights of all time. In my opinion, top 10. He was not the draw. Mike Tyson was the draw. Yeah, Mike Tyson was the name. Mike Tyson is a pay-per-view fighter. It was not Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was the B-side when he fought Mike Tyson, and he was undisputed. Those are facts. It just is what it is, man. It just is what it is. So I don't want people to get confused talking about, oh, man, this guy's a draw, right? This guy's No, there were 7 draws. 7. There were 7 total draws in the sport of boxing. 7. That is it. 7. Nothing more, nothing less. 7. That's it. Everybody else, it requires the fight that you're in will make the numbers big. You alone won't do it. If you fought somebody and the other guy fought somebody, your numbers will be low. But if you guys fight each other, that is the perfect storm. That is what's going to get you the biggest numbers. You guys fighting each other. Whoever you guys are, you guys fight each other. But pay-per-view fighter of a draw, fighting a draw will get you a draw, a big-ass fight. If Tank Davis was fighting at 147, Tank Davis versus Errol Spence is astronomically big. That fight is way bigger than Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Way bigger. The numbers for that fight would be fucking astronomical. But Tank don't fight at 47. He could, but he don't. It just is what it is, y'all. It just is what it is. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And I'm out.